look okay? This background looks horrible. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the first episode of Think Media. Looking for ideas? So you want to be an online influencer? Video Influencers was featured in Forbes as one of the top 20 must-watch YouTube channels to grow your business. YouTube is the place to be. But if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Hey guys, welcome back to Lydia Isnanto Channel. We are back with the Human Stories episode. I am right now at Las Vegas and I'm so excited to have Cannell here with us. He is the best-selling author and also lifestyle entrepreneur. And you have 3 YouTube channels: Think Media TV, Cannell, Video Influencers. And you have built 6-figure online business, giving you freedom to do what you want, when you want, with people that matters to you the most. I think that is what everyone's dream job.
Yeah, well, achieved so far, it's crazy. I think we, between those 3 channels, is over 600,000 subscribers, over 20 million video views. And yeah, now personally, we have a team here in Vegas, and then Video Influencers is a project I do with Benji Travis, and we have a team around that as well. So it's been crazy, but it didn't start that way. I actually started back in 2003, volunteering in my local church, shooting videos before YouTube started. And those videos were terrible. I hope that nobody ever sees, you know, because your first videos are your worst videos.
Yeah. So what is the story of that journey until becoming of who you are right now?
What was the really kind of life-changing moment for me? I mean, if we go back, I was raised by a great family. My mom and stepdad and my father, they separated earlier, but my great mom, great dad, and great stepdad. And over the years, I really discovered this passion for creativity. And eventually I went to Bible college and I did a year studying there. And then when I came home around 2002, 2003, I started to intern at my local church. And the youth pastor there, Jeff Moores, and handed me a video camera with mini DV tapes in it. It was a Canon HV30. So I started doing videos, and actually though, I was still being creative, but I started to learn a lot of things. And what I think was so interesting about this is people see where I am today, but there's so many elements that shape who you are that are kind of behind the scenes. When people are trying to figure out, say, YouTube, they think about the video production side, but I think back in church and I started to learn just how to communicate. I'd have to do announcements during the week. I'd speak messages to the youth group and whatnot. And so I had to learn public speaking and communication. Some people go, you appear confident on camera now, you seem like you have this all polished, were you born that way? And it was like, no, absolutely not. I mean, maybe there was some natural talent, but I think all of us have to work on whatever our natural talent is. I was volunteering in church, eventually was part-time, but we were really hustling. At those days, I met my wife, Sonia, in 2005. She started to, she was working a couple different jobs, Starbucks, waiting tables, nannying, because she believed in our dream. I mean, that's a thought right there, is you really need people who sometimes can, you know, faith is being able to see the invisible. It's if you can see it, it doesn't require faith. And we had big dreams, big aspirations, but in ministry, and me volunteering and doing videos for the church and stuff, that wasn't paying well. So we're definitely dual income. She's working multiple jobs. I'm waiting tables a little bit to earn some money, and we're hustling hard, you know, it's just these kind of young kids. We got married at 21. Probably shaped me the most of what happened today was in 2007, Sonia went on a mission trip to the Philippines. It was a great trip and they were able to impact a lot of people, but a bunch of people got sick actually. And it might have been food poisoning or something. The group recovered, but when she came home, we didn't know what was going on. She was actually just very sick and she was actually throwing up multiple times a day. And for the next couple of years, we're going from doctor to doctor to doctor, and we didn't know what was going on. She was losing all this weight. She got down to 82 pounds. Almost died, and it got a feeding tube, and there was complications with that that also led to her being hospitalized for 6 days. And I'm by her side the whole time. We're trying to figure this out, you know, this young couple. And it was actually during those few days where I started to ask myself some really big why questions. First of all, you kind of, on the one hand, you're like, God, why did this happen? But you're also like, you ask yourself what questions? What are we gonna do? What am I gonna do as a man, as a leader, to provide for my family, to really get serious about earning income, to figure this thing out? And it was so interesting because it was during those 6 days in the hospital that I really feel like I started to get a vision, and I felt like God was planting in my heart a vision for what we're doing today. And I didn't have clarity on all the pieces, but I think I had clarity on the direction. And there's actually a pretty influential book I read during that time called Crush It by Gary Vaynerchuk. And I'm in the hospital, I was flipping through a magazine and I saw an interview with him. And so I went to Barnes & Noble and bought the book while we were in Seattle, why Sony was in the hospital. And as I was reading through it, I started to discover that there's this world of online video, blogging, people making money online, people building a life on their own terms. The leaders and influencers that have the strongest why are the ones that I think can press through the adversity it takes to build something significant. And my why wasn't, I just want to make some money online, and my why wasn't like, oh, I want to be YouTube famous or these different things. And I think some of those ambitions are actually fine, but my why was, how am I going to support my family? How do I take care of really Sonia? And so out of that just sent me on this journey, really studying everything I could, reading every book I could buy, investing in courses, going to conferences, trying to figure out what we've done and built in to this kind of full-time income today. And we actually knew of a church in Vegas called the Church LV, and what had ended up happening was we thought we'd visit that on Sunday, but a pastor friend of ours from Seattle called ahead and said, hey, Benny Perez, who's the lead pastor, Sean's coming into town, and he does video, he does social media, he does communications. I know that you've been looking for someone like that. So we visited the church, but we ended up going out to lunch. And among other things, we were talking, and he said, well, what would you think about coming to Vegas for a position? During those years is when I wrote my first book, YouTube for Churches. And so clearly that was the space I was passionate about being. Also, it's important to note that this entire time, I was always building YouTube on the side. I was just dabbling in it. Since 2010, I was dabbling on the side, doing YouTube, experimenting, besides doing client work. And I even did freelance client work during that time. So I was really staying in that space, staying in the entrepreneur space. And he acknowledged all those things. I'm really grateful, because when I asked him that, what do you think? And he goes, honestly, I think that it's time for you to kind of soar. It's time for you to go out. This YouTube stuff you've been doing on the side, I see it in you. I see that kind of entrepreneurial spirit in you. So that's where we transitioned. So we were on our own, but I had 3 big clients. And that lasted most of the year. We were doing it, growing video influencers, about over 200,000 subscribers. And that was happening, and we're starting these other YouTube projects. We're still definitely scrambling, relying on the client work and the freelance income. But October 2015, this was these big turning points, these big shifts. The first week, one of them calls me and says, hey, we gotta let you go. We're just changing some stuff, some staff's moving around, whatever. So we're like, okay, no big deal. This kind of thing that happens. Second week, second client calls us. We gotta let you go. We're like, okay, well, geez, only 3 main clients. This is tough. Like, what are we gonna do now? Third week, guess what? That's right, third client let me go. And so now we lost 80%, more than that, of our income in 1 month. We had started generating even a few $100s a month on YouTube and doing some affiliate marketing, some other things, but it was not enough to pay the bills, So immediately we're like, what should we do? And one of the business mentors in my life, and just a great personal friend, David Goldstein, I call him up, very successful in business, and just incredible, him and Alice, his family. I'm like, David, what do I do? I mean, should I go pursue more clients? I could do that. There's probably other people who would love some help with YouTube and social and managing their channels or things like that. What do you think? And he goes, I'm not worried. And I'm like, well, I know you're not worried, but as far as I know, David, you've never actually paid any of our bills. So I get you're not worried. I'm worried personally. He goes, well, no, I'm not worried, because I actually think this is God kicking you out of the nest. Honestly, he kind of goes, entrepreneurially, you probably should have leaped a lot earlier. But now here's a line in the sand. You could go back, but you just need to dive all in. I used to be doing a full-time, pastor at a church, plus some client side hustle stuff, plus trying to do my YouTube channel. Man, when I take all of that energy and all I do is YouTube, I was like, let's just go for it. And we had about 6 months until we would go bankrupt, it's savings. We realized we could subsidize. We could last about 6 months before we make it. And that's, if anybody has ever had an entrepreneurial dream, I mean, there's something about stepping out in faith, stepping out and taking a risk. And we did that. And by January 1st, we had replaced that freelance income in 2 months. November and December, we had replaced it, and then actually now it's 2016. In 2016 we had a 10x year, and we actually have a program called 10x Your Brand with YouTube, and it's kind of about that, because in 2015, like I said, I was kind of doing YouTube and client work. We had 650,000 views on YouTube. In 2016 we had 6.5 million, and things just began to scale and grow. And since that time, Think Media grew 100 and about 40,000 subscribers that year, and in October 2015, we had 16,000 subscribers. And as we're shooting this video today, we just crossed 350,000. And I know that for a lot of entrepreneurs, when it's a side hustle, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you got family, kids, multiple jobs, that's a side hustle season. But what was so interesting that I learned out of what happened in October was the power of focus. When we were able to just focus on one thing, and when I wasn't doing a whole bunch of things, but I just began to put all my energy in this one direction, it's amazing how fast things began to grow. But now I've been sharing this long story with you, right? And you can see there's been so many different layers, right, and levels. And I look back and I just actually see God's hand in the whole thing, shaping me to be actually at the right moment at the right time.
I believe there's so many audience out there who are really inspired by Sean's story right now. Any one of you who want to learn more about Sean, please check through his YouTube channel from this link below. And don't forget that also he has so many online courses as well that you can be inspired more, equip you to get better, and to build you to be better in your business or as a person and as a leader. Thank you so much guys for watching. And thank you, Sean. Until next time, ciao. Okay, thank you.
Yes, found it. We did
Yeah,
it.
thank you so much. Oh my God.